Welcome to the Light of Galilee channel. Today, we are embarking on a very special journey, a peaceful and deep story. This is perfect for those seeking comforting Bible stories for sleep. For 30 years, the story of the Son of Man was written in Nazareth. It was a quiet town, hidden high in the limestone ridges. There, he grew up. He breathed in the scent of hard labor. He understood the human condition. But the time of quiet preparation was over. Sadly, his own people did not understand him. The event where Jesus rejected at Nazareth was a deep sorrow. They could not accept a carpenter with the authority of God. They drove him away. But this rejection was not a defeat. It was a divine pivot. He turned his back on the hill country. He set his face to the northeast. He was beginning his journey, moving to Capernaum. The journey from Nazareth down to the lake was not just geographical. It was a turning point in history. The air changed. The cool mountain breeze gave way to the warmth of the valley. Before him lay the great lake. This place would witness the greatest moments of the Jesus. Beneath his sandals was the great ancient highway. This trade route is known as the Way of the Sea Bible. It connected the empire of Egypt to the empires of the north. Capernaum sat right on this vital artery. By choosing this place, Jesus was not hiding. He was placing his light on the highest lampstand, a place where thousands of travelers passed, a crossroads of humanity. It was the perfect launching point. The dawn of the Jesus Galilean ministry had officially begun. Capernaum, also known as Capernaum. It translates to the village of comfort. If you look into Capernaum history, you will find it was a bustling frontier town. The smell of dried fish, the scent of salt, the aroma of exotic spices, they all mixed in the air. The houses here were built from black basalt. It is a volcanic rock that absorbs the fierce heat. Here, Jesus observed everything. He saw wealthy merchants. He saw Roman guards. He saw desperate beggars by the stone walls. He did not arrive as a conquering king. He arrived as a walking rabbi. The arrival of Jesus in Capernaum turned a worldly town into a center of miracles. He chose to live among humble fishermen. He made their home his home. Proximity to the broken was the absolute core of the Capernaum Jesus ministry. Morning broke over the Golan Heights. Jesus walked along the wet, cool sand. He saw Simon and his friends. They were washing their nets. Their faces carried the heavy exhaustion of a sleepless, empty night. He approached them. His voice was calm. Put out into the deep. Let down your nets for a catch. Simon sighed. He was a master fisherman. Taking fishing advice from a carpenter made no logical sense. But something in the master's eyes compelled him. Master, we toiled all night and took nothing. But at your word, I will let down the nets. The heavy nets sank. Instantly, the water began to boil. Thousands of silver scales flashed in the light. The catch was so massive, the nets began to tear. The boats began to sink. Seeing this, Simon fell at the knees of Jesus. He trembled at his own unworthiness. This was the calling of Simon Peter. It changed church history forever. For anyone wanting, Jesus calls his first disciples explained, the lesson is simple. He does not call the perfect. He calls the willing. Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men. The Sabbath arrived. A holy quiet wrapped around Capernaum. The boats were tied. The tax booths were closed. Jesus entered the synagogue, a beautiful building made of white limestone. He sat down and taught. His words were not like the scribes. His words carried absolute authority, the voice of the Creator. Suddenly, the holy silence was shattered. A blood-curdling scream echoed off the stone walls. A man possessed by an unclean spirit violently convulsed. The darkness could not hide when the light walked into the room. The Capernaum synagogue demon was a direct clash between heaven and hell. The demon shrieked, "Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." Panic erupted, but Jesus stood perfectly still. He commanded with a voice like thunder, "Be silent and come out of him." The spirit threw the man down, and then it vanished. Total peace flooded the room. This scene is incredible to picture in any biblical audio drama. It reminds us of one vital truth. No power of darkness can withstand his word. Leaving the synagogue, he went to Simon's house to rest, but anxiety hung heavy in the air. Simon's mother-in-law lay in the inner room. She was gripped by a burning fever. In those days, a high fever was often a death sentence. Jesus did not hesitate. He walked into the stifling room. He bent down. He took her frail, burning hand. He lifted her up. The moment skin touched skin, the fever vanished. The moment Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law, she immediately rose from her bed. She began to serve them joyfully. The news spread like wildfire. When the sun finally set, the Sabbath officially ended. The entire town rushed to Simon's door. Among all the stories of Jesus' miracles, this night is unforgettable. The blind, the crippled, the desperate, they brought their pain to his doorstep, and he did not turn a single person away. The way Jesus heals in Capernaum that night was a beautiful display of grace. He touched unseeing eyes. He cleansed leprous skin. He absorbed the pain of humanity, and he poured out the healing of heaven. The long night had passed. The house was silent. Long before daylight, Jesus awoke. His physical body was exhausted, but his spirit thirsted for communion with the Father. He slipped away into the dark. He found a desolate place to pray. When the disciples finally tracked him down, they panicked. "Everyone is looking for you." They wanted him to stay. They wanted to keep the light all to themselves. But Jesus stood up. He looked past the lake. He looked toward the countless villages waiting in the shadows. He answered softly, "Let us go on to the next towns, that I may preach there also, for that is why I came out." The move to Capernaum had served its purpose. It became the launch pad for a mission that would shatter history. Thank you for joining us today. If you found peace in this Jesus Miracles audio story, please like and subscribe. This is part of our Christian Meditation Story audio collection, designed to bring you rest. May the peace of God be with you. Have a restful sleep in the arms of His grace. We will see you in the next story, here on Light of